Saint of the Day, September 23rd, Saint Padre Pio. On September 23rd, the Church celebrates the feast of Saint Padre Pio, one of the most beloved saints of the 20th century. Known to the world as Padre Pio, he was born Francesco Forgione in the rural village of Pietrelcina, in southern Italy, in 1887. From his earliest days, Francesco's life was marked by a profound devotion to God. At the age of 5, he resolved to dedicate himself wholly to the Lord, a resolve that would shape his entire existence. Francesco grew up in a humble family of peasant farmers. Though materially poor, his family was rich in faith. Every morning, they attended Mass. Every evening, they prayed the Rosary together. They observed periods of fasting and abstinence, practices that helped to foster a spirit of sacrifice and trust in God. When a young Capuchin friar visited their village and spoke of the religious life, Francesco felt a deep call to follow in his footsteps. However, the path to the Capuchin order was not easy. The friars required a level of education that Francesco did not yet possess. In an act of loving sacrifice, his father emigrated to the United States to earn the money needed for Francesco's schooling. Thanks to this support, Francesco was able to enter the novitiate of the Capuchin friars at Morcone in 1903, taking the name Pio in honor of Pope Saint Pius I. He professed his final vows in 1907, and after years of diligent study and prayer, he was ordained a priest in 1910. Padre Pio's priesthood was lived out in simplicity, obedience, and profound suffering. Shortly after his ordination, his fragile health forced him to return to his family home for extended periods. In 1916, he was assigned to the remote friary of Our Lady of Grace in San Giovanni Rotondo, nestled in the Gorgonno Mountains. It was here that he would spend the remainder of his life, ministering to the faithful and becoming a spiritual father to thousands. During the First World War, Padre Pio was briefly drafted into military service, but his ill health led to a series of discharges until he was ultimately deemed unfit for duty. After returning to San Giovanni Rotondo, extraordinary spiritual phenomena began to surround him. He was reported to possess numerous charisms, the ability to heal, to read hearts in confession, to bilocate, appear in 2 places at once, and to prophesy. He was also said to experience ecstasies, levitation, and the gift of tongues. But perhaps most notable were the wounds that appeared on his body, the stigmata, the visible marks of Christ's passion. News of Padre Pio's stigmata spread rapidly, drawing pilgrims from around the world. Many came seeking healing, consolation, and spiritual guidance. The scent of flowers, especially violets, was said to emanate from his wounds, a phenomenon known as the odor of sanctity. Yet, fame brought not only admiration but also suspicion and hardship. The Church, cautious and prudent, subjected Padre Pio to numerous investigations and imposed restrictions on his ministry. For years, he was forbidden to celebrate Mass publicly or hear confessions. Throughout these trials, Padre Pio remained obedient, enduring all with humility and trust in God's will. Eventually, Pope Pius XI lifted the restrictions, recognizing the authenticity of his sanctity and ministry. Padre Pio's life was marked by tireless devotion to the sacraments, especially the Eucharist and the confessional. He would spend long hours hearing confessions, sometimes up to 16 hours a day, drawing countless souls back to Christ. He often exhorted his spiritual children to pray, hope, and don't worry, a phrase that has since become his spiritual legacy. He encouraged devotion to Our Lady, prayer of the Rosary, and trust in divine mercy. In the last years of his life, Padre Pio's health declined. In September 1968, feeling great fatigue, he prepared himself for death. Early on the morning of September 23, he made his last confession, renewed his Franciscan vows, and peacefully surrendered his soul to God. He was 81 years old. The impact of Padre Pio's life did not end with his death. He was declared venerable in 1997, beatified in 1999, and canonized as saint by Pope John Paul II in 2002. Today, millions continue to visit his shrine in San Giovanni Rotondo, and his intercession is sought by the faithful around the world. Saint Padre Pio's life shows us the power of humility, obedience, and patient suffering. May we, following his example, draw closer to Christ, especially through prayer, the sacraments, and service to others. Saint Padre Pio, pray for us.